75 years ago, Baldwin County, Alabama looked much different than it does today. Instead of busy highways and densely populated communities, you were more likely to find dirt roads and rural farms. And like the 5 million other farming families in America, those who called Baldwin County home had no electricity.
Let's try to put ourselves back into the 30s and imagine being in a house with no electricity, no lights, coal oil lamps.
Some of them still cooked on wood stoves. They heated with fireplaces. Had no air conditioning because they had no electricity.
That is until a new company came along and changed that. In 1935, President Franklin Roosevelt created the Rural Electrification Administration, or the REA, which offered federal funding for electrification of rural communities. 2 years later, in 1937, a group of 5 men, Frank Earl, Percy Bryant, Alton Hankins, Frank Hoffman, and Tom Still Jr., finalized the groundwork for what would become Baldwin EMC. The following year, the cooperative's original lines were finally electrified. For the first time, Baldwin County's rural families saw the light.
And of course, back in those days, there was no light fixtures as such. There was just a cord hanging down and a socket with a pull chain on it.
And the people see that light come on, and the kids be jumping up and down and hollering and carrying on, and the parents would be thanking God, thank God, thank God. You know, it was unbelievable at the response that those people had.
The modern technology and equipment that is symbolic of utility work today was still a dream in the cooperative's early days, making the work of keeping the lights on all the more challenging.
We had no digger trucks, we had no bucket trucks. All the holes were dug by hand. The poles were set with an old A-frame truck or ginned up by another tree or another pole. All the framing was done, most of it in the air. Everybody had to climb. There was no such thing as framing a pole before you set it.
Today, the dirt roads and rural communities of the past have been replaced by noisy highways and active communities. Most of the area's residents don't even remember a time before electricity. Baldwin EMC has grown as well. Sophisticated technology, state-of-the-art equipment, and highly trained employees allow the cooperative to stay above the competition in customer service and reliability.
This is Bridget. How may I help you?
Our main role is to provide electricity and reliable electricity, and our efficiency rate is 99.999, as Bucky Jenkins, our CEO, tells us all the time, which is excellent.
Today we expect and demand to have electricity. It is no longer a privilege. That's the model that we live by. We expect them to have electricity.
In addition, Baldwin EMC has sponsored many local charities and events, and its employees are involved in a variety of community organizations, from volunteer fire departments to PTA groups.
We've started a program called Operation Roundup, and the purpose of it is to be involved in the community and give grants to the community. We have great participation. 87% of our members participate, and it's a very simple program. We just round your electric bill up to the nearest dollar every month, and you don't have to mess with the pennies. We collect them, give them to the separate board. It's a separate board that runs Operation Roundup, and then they give out the dollars to the community.
Today, the cooperative has reached its 75th anniversary, and the availability of reliable electricity is still as critical to development as it was in 1937.
Without good electrical service, there's probably an awful lot of people that wouldn't have moved to Baldwin County.
As the future approaches, Baldwin EMC remains confident about its place in the community. And while times and technology change, the mission of Baldwin EMC remains the same as it was 75 years ago: to be a leader as a customer-focused, efficient, and community-involved cooperative.
I think they do a great job. If I'm out of electricity for an hour a year, that's an exception rather than a rule.
I would say that within a year and a half, we could point to ourselves and say that we are the leader as far as technology at Baldwin EMC in every aspect of our business, from the construction part of our business, to the member services part of our business, to the operations end of our business. When you look at the technology that we have in place, it's state of the art, it's the latest, it's the greatest, and if anybody else is ahead of us, I don't know about it.